Joining us today is Nordic skiing junior Will Meehan, coming to us live from Scotland right now. Um, I guess I have to ask, I mean, you're the only student at the entire college studying abroad this semester. Um, Sort of how did that come about? At what point in your same like career did you realize I really want to study abroad? And how did you end up deciding on Scotland?
Yeah, I mean, good question. So I'd always known that I want to study abroad, like even when I was looking at colleges, like in high school, and I knew St. Mike's had a good program with study abroad, and they had a good relationship with a lot of study abroad programs. So it was a plus. And then sophomore year, I'd been looking into it, and I met with Peggy from Study Abroad. She's great, and she helped me out. And I knew I'd wanted to go to Scotland. My family had gone on a cruise a few years back, and we stopped in Edinburgh for a day. It was just a day, but I just got a taste of the city. Knew I liked it. Knew I wanted to come back. And it presented a great opportunity with the university here and the program with Arcadia, and it just kind of ended up working out to choose that program. And then regarding how I ended up being the only study abroad student, I'm a winter athlete, so second semester. So typically juniors go abroad. You go abroad during your junior year, so fall was really my only option. So that's what I'd planned on my sophomore year. Went through the whole process, um, and then COVID hit. My program is still on at that point, and I just kind of waited it out. Some programs canceled, some people dropped out. I just kind of held on with it, and it ended up that my program ended up staying on. Scotland had really low cases during the summer, and worked it out with Peggy in the school. And they at one point thought that I wasn't actually going abroad. So they thought they had no students going abroad, but it ended up working out all around. But the program stayed on, St. Mike's approved, my family approved, everything just kind of worked into place.
I think a lot of people sort of look at some of the publicity of study abroad, and they see a lot of photos, people traveling around. But I think some people also sort of forget there actually is studying involved. It is really a semester of school just in another part of the world. Um, what kind of classes have you taken? And when you've been learning, has it been on campus? Have they done it remotely?
Yeah, so at St. Mike's, I'm a double major, business and economics, and I'd taken some extra classes, so I was up on credits. So my focus, um, coming to Scotland, I didn't need to take certain classes that to graduate for the most part. I just need some credits. So right now, I'm just mostly taking class that I found interesting. So I'm taking a international business class, which does go towards my business major. And then I'm taking a Celtic civilization course and a Scottish studies course. So those last two, I wanted to take something that was unique, something that I couldn't really get anywhere else. Kind of learn about the place I'm in. Um, you know, it feels more special. Like I'm actually, I'm here for a reason. Want to learn about where I'm studying. And then in terms of the actual coursework and stuff, um, University of Edinburgh it's a huge school. So typically everything, they do big lecture halls. That's obviously not possible right now. So lectures and stuff are pre-recorded and online and stuff. But we have tutorials, which are basically like smaller group discussions that um, meet in person every week or every other week. So those are in person at the university, and those have been nice to go to. and have a little kind of that small school vibe that I like at St. Mike's. You can actually discuss the material and feel like the person teaching actually knows you.
Hmm. A couple few years ago, we had a women's volleyball player, Megan Priester, who studied abroad, I believe in Australia. And, she's a volleyball player, but she played lacrosse in high school, and she had an opportunity to join a lacrosse team down there. So, I mean, for her, it wasn't just school and sort of seeing the sights, it was also really getting involved in her community. And I know you mentioned when we were talking a little before off camera, just you have gotten involved a little bit in some stuff. What kind of extracurricular activities have you taken advantage of while you've been there?
Yeah, so the school itself actually has like a ton of clubs, both academic and athletic, and they're all like extremely welcoming. Um, they we had like a online like welcome week thing, and you could kind of go into like different Zoom meeting rooms and stuff and talk to some of the organizers stuff. So as an endurance athlete, I joined the running club. I looked into joining some other clubs. Running club's the main one that I've kept up with, and they're all of the clubs and stuff are basically like come when you can. Like we're always happy to have you, but it's no huge commitment, which is really nice, especially if you're just here for a limited time. You can't make something, you have class, like you're doing something else. So it's really nice in that sense. I've also joined the Economic Society. They have some great events. Everything's kind of online, but some lecture, some like professors that come, some interesting people who've written books, do Zoom calls and stuff. So that's been great. I actually had been looking into joining the American Football Club here. Ended up not quite working out, but I played a year in high school, and I thought it was gonna be fun. So it didn't end up working out, but I looked into it. So similar to the lacrosse in Australia kind of thing.
Are a lot of the folks that you're meeting there locals, Scots, or are you also meeting a lot of Americans? Or in these clubs, are you sort of like the token American, or are there others that you're meeting also from the States there?
There are definitely other Americans, but I tend to be the token American. It's a lot of people from the UK here, so there's a lot of Scottish people, but a lot of people from England too that come, and there's a pretty international sense. There's a lot of people from the rest of Europe, as well as the rest of the world, but it's largely the UK. So ton of Scottish people, a ton of English people.
Hmm. I hate to just assume you sort of fit in when walking down the street, but you do have red
Yeah.
hair, and it's definitely anybody come up to you and like, oh, I know you, you're mistake you for someone they know or something like that.
Once I start talking, they don't really listen too much anymore. So yeah.
What kind of places have you been able to see around there that what kind of experiences have you had that you never would have had if not for
Yeah.
doing that?
Yeah. I mean, I've done. At this time, it's not really possible to do a whole lot of travel with to other countries in Europe, which is what a lot of people do during study abroad.
Mhm.
But I've been able to explore Scotland and Edinburgh, and I bought a bike when I was here, and I've done a lot of running, so I've been able to see the city in that way. There's a lot of you can get outside of the city itself pretty easily, and see some of the countryside, which is terrific. They have some awesome mountains you can run in that are really like 5 miles from like the inner city. You'd have no idea that like the city was anywhere near you, which is pretty incredible. Just running like open pastures with sheep and like cows and stuff. So that's a very cool experience. Because in the U.S., you don't everything's kind of fenced up, like closed in, but everything in Scotland's more open, and like you can just run through farms and like stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And I've been able to I did a bus tour a few weeks ago, which was awesome. It ended up being basically a private tour because it was me and like one other woman who were on it. So that was great. And we went up to the West Highlands. We got to see some castles and some locks up there, which was absolutely gorgeous. And just got to do some walking around. And then last week I went on a little trip with Arcadia and the other people who are in Scotland with Arcadia. And we went up to Burbush, which is the university's like outdoor activity center. And that's on a Loch Tay. And it's like 2 hours away. And we did some kayaking around the loch, which was pretty cool. It's a huge loch, but we probably were out there for like 5 hours and we covered like maybe a third of it, like not even. Like it's enormous. It's crazy.
Wow. That sounds like the lake. It sounds like Lake Champlain or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So in thinking about Edinburgh and just I've looked up a little bit about Edinburgh just so I could sort of learn a little bit myself. And yeah, it's an old city. I mean, it's been around since about the 12th century. What kind of, what kind of city is it versus, you grew up outside Boston. I mean, Boston, I lived in and around Boston for a year as well, and it's somewhat chaotic if you're down there. I mean, if you're in Edinburgh, do you know it's a city? Are there highways and roads everywhere? Are they the same? Are they different?
It's very interesting because it is a big city and there's a lot of people, but there's no like skyscrapers, that's probably the biggest difference. Like there's no huge highways, no like size skyscrapers like in Boston or New York or some of the major US cities. It's a lot of there's basically like two towns and like two sides of town in Edinburgh, which is like the old town, where a lot of the older, like closer together buildings are, kind of some of that more um, like older style architecture, which I really enjoy. And then there's the new town, which is, a little more recent, more updated, more, straight lines and stuff. The old town kind of has these closes and like zigzag roads, and it's pretty cool. But there's a lot of no, there's not a whole lot of cars in the city. Like basically everyone walks everywhere, which is standard for a city, But ton of walking and yeah, no skyscrapers. That's the biggest difference. Is everything's like the highest buildings like maybe 15 stories, like maybe like pretty interesting.
I always imagined these older European cities as every building being visibly old and having beautiful architecture and every road being, cobblestone and such. I mean, is anything like that there? Is what I'm imagining similar to what it actually is, or am I totally
No,
off?
it is. No,
Yeah.
it is actually. There's a fair amount of cobblestone on some of the roads and stuff. Not great for biking on, especially with a road bike. I figured that out. And I love the architect. That's another reason that I want to come here, because I just love the architecture and the style of the old town and the city and all the buildings. There's Edinburgh Castle, like right in the city, and a lot of castle-like buildings. So it's just beautiful to walk around and just appreciate the city.
Yeah, I have to sort of wonder. I mean, going back from sort of back to your sport for a sec. Y- you don't have any snow there right now, correct?
No, nothing.
Okay. Um, so are you sort of missing the ski training with the team? And I know you'd only be roller skiing right now, but what have you done for yourself to try to get ready for, first off, being on snow? I guess I won't ask about freezing badly at carnivals, but what have you sort of been doing for training this fall?
Yeah, I mean, recently there's been a little bit of snow in Vermont and back in Mass, so I've gotten some pictures and I've been missing it. I love that first snow of the season, so that's been tough, and it's hard not being with my team that I've spent so much time with, my coaches, and that sense of training, the fellow like teammates pushing you to, that extra interval or whatever. But I've been putting in a lot of hours still. I trained with friends over the summer, but a lot of time alone. So I'm kind of used to that, and got the running club here. So I've been just trying to put in the hours still. Do a lot of running, do a lot of biking. Push-ups, sit-ups. Just trying to do what I can. Can't roll. I didn't bring my roller skis here. It's not super easy to do in a city with cobblestone roads that pop up every once in a while. So just trying to follow what I can for the training plan, substitute it with running and biking where I can.
I'm guessing you very much missed not roller skiing up App Gap this fall.
Oh yeah, that was I was really looking forward to that one.
I have to wonder, because in thinking about the skiers that we've had, say Mike's, and even you look at other rosters, a lot of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, New York, Minnesota. We've had Wisconsin in the past, Alaska. I don't recall really seeing a lot of folks from Massachusetts, Nordic skiers, and I'm wondering what kind of ski community you all have down there, and if this was a plan that, yeah, I want to ski in college.
Yeah, good question. So as you mentioned, I'm from outside of Boston, so I went to Concord Carlisle High School, and there is a ski. There is some ski facilities like nearby. There's one in Carlisle that they don't make snow, but so it's been tough for them the last few years. And then there's Weston Ski Track, which is 30 minutes from my house, and they do make snow. Last few years, it's ended up being like a quarter-mile track, which is tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have there's a high school team that I was on, and I captained. And when I was at in high school on that team, I feel like the community of skiing really grew. And even though there isn't like a ton of snow in Mass, and it's pretty inconsistent, there is a pretty decent community just outside of Boston. And Cambridge Sports Union, that's one of the big ski clubs that is in Mass. They produce a lot of skiers, and recently there was a good group of skiers that were just in the year below me, and bunch of them they produced like 4 or 5 kids who are now skiing also in the EISA, which is pretty incredible. And I think 3 of them were on my high school team with me, and we were able to win states my senior year, which was incredible. We beat Mount Greylock over in Western Mass, which gets an absurd amount more snow than we do.
Right.
So it was always a big rivalry between the kids who would grind out on the quarter-mile, half-mile track versus the kids who are like right up next to Vermont and actually got snow and had mountains to work on and stuff. So a big rivalry there, but there is a bigger than most think ski community out in Mass. So
It's interesting to hear, because I think let's see, Harvard had its first carnival last year, and so just sort of but I think they don't even compete in Massachusetts. I'm pretty sure they compete in New Hampshire. So it's interesting to hear that in and around Boston there is a thriving Nordic skiing community.
yeah, and to that, one of the kids who I had raced with, I was a freshman in high school, and my friend was a senior. He skied for Harvard, and they often practice at that Weston ski track, but it's just not big enough to host any races. So we were supposed to have a carnival in New Hampshire, and it's southern New Hampshire, but they didn't even get enough snow this past year. So for that carnival, so it had to move it up to Craftsbury for that carnival. So it's tough, and in Mass and lower New Hampshire. But if you want it bad enough, you'll make the drives on the weekends, make it up to Vermont, to Maine, to New Hampshire, and people just really if you're committed to skiing, you make it work.
So in high school, did you think, I can continue doing this in college? I really want to keep continuing my ski career into college.
Yeah, so it had definitely crossed my mind because I had improved so much from my freshman to my junior senior year, skiing wise, and I had known a kid who went to Harvard. I knew a kid who was planning to go to Dartmouth and ski for them, so I knew it was possible. But the thing was, in Massachusetts, another thing very different from a lot of the other New England schools and ski communities is at the high school level, you basically only do skate skiing. Unless you're on one of the club teams. So being on like a high school team versus a club team, that kind of really separates you, because high school teams only practice skate skiing as opposed to classic skiing, which is, just the two different techniques that we compete in with Nordic skiing. So I really had very minimal like classic skiing experience in high school. We didn't race it in high school. I wasn't on a club team. I had done it a few times for some qualifiers and stuff, but I wasn't really good at it. So that was kind of what was holding me back in the can I ski in college thing, because I was like, I need to know how to do this. I can do it, but I'm not really good at it. So in that sense, I kind of put it to the back of my head. I was like, I want to ski. But it's not a priority, just because I wasn't being, I didn't have the that skill at the time for it, so wasn't in the forefront of my mind.
Did it sort of just work out then, that you found St. Mike's and realized, oh, I want to ski here and I can be on the team here and continue building my skill level?
Yeah, so I mean, my mom had kind of pushed me to apply to St. Mike's. She had known some people who went to St. Mike's, and I applied, and I knew that they had. I applied, I got in, and I got a good scholarship from St. Mike's. So it was definitely high up on my list of places I was considering at the time. And looking into it, I found that they had a ski program. And I contacted the coach, Molly Peters, who's my coach now, and I basically just told her, my situation. I was like, hey, like, I'm good at skate skiing. Like, we want a state championship. I'm a really hard worker. My classic skiing is like probably subpar, but I'm a fast learner. Like, I think I can, show up and do it. And Molly wrote back and she was like, yeah, like, we have a recruit night in a couple of weeks. Like, why don't you come up, take a look, get to know the team and stuff. And I was like, okay, like, great. Like, I thought it was going to be more like, oh, I don't know. And Molly was just super like welcoming. She's like, yeah, you seem like you'd be a good fit. Why don't you come up and, check it out, you can meet with me and meet with the captains and stuff. And came up, and kind of just worked out well. So I decided I wanted to, St. Mike's had everything I wanted in that sense. So I could ski for them, good scholarship, good academics. Vermont's beautiful, kind of just worked out.
So one of the things, excuse me, one of the things that I've tried to start doing during these interviews are 10 questions or so to sort of to finish it off a little bit. You good if we try that again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Okay. First question: what is your favorite St. Mike's ski moment so far?
Good question. I think probably my favorite moment is last fall. We went on, it had like just snowed. It was like one of the first snows of the year. And it didn't snow that much like on campus or in Burlington. Um, but my Molly and my assistant coach Penny had determined that there was a lot of snow at Bolton Valley. So we went on, I think it was maybe a Sunday, and it was all powder at Bolton. And we went up some of the back trails, totally ungroomed. We went on just some, rock skis, and we skied up the backside of the mountain, and then we came down on the alpine slopes, which was, it was a beautiful day, sunny. There was like a foot and a half of powder, I think. Ungroomed trails coming down the alpine slopes on like skinny skis. Like there were like some other people going down on like actual skis, and we were just like flying by and like falling down. And it was free, it was cold, and first snow, but it was amazing. That first snow of the year with the powder, it was just awesome. That was probably one of my favorite experiences.
That's really cool. Question number 2, what is your favorite thing about race day?
Oh, good question. Probably finishing the race. You get the, I'm always like too nervous to enjoy anything before the race. But after, you're coming into that like last lap of the race, everyone's cheering for you, like at that point, like you're gonna be like done. You've made it through. It's not a matter of like if I can finish, it's like when I can finish. You're putting it, you're all in. You cross the finish line, families there, friends there, hugging them. And then you go eat a ton of food. It doesn't matter. You can eat whatever you want. You just race, you put out a ton of calories, sweating your butt off. Like you can eat whatever you want. You just watch the other finishers come in, and the next race. That's a great feeling. So,
Are you one of those people that collapses at the end?
Molly really pushes you to collapse at the end, so I try to. She wants everyone, giving it their all every race. So,
Okay. Question number 3. I'm sorry if this is like beating a dead horse, but who is your favorite redhead in pop culture?
ooh, good question. It's a good question. I might go with, I guess Will Ferrell's kind of a redhead, right? You could say he's kind of a redhead. I've met him, so that's probably that's my kind of connection with that. Maybe he might be my favorite for that. He kind of got red hair, but I did meet him, so that was very cool.
Was he nice? Was he a good
Oh
guy?
yeah, I met him. They're filming Daddy's Home 2 in my town, so I long story short, I got to meet basically the whole cast of that. So Mark Wahlberg, John Lithgow, John Cena. It was crazy, but they're all super nice. Will Ferrell's super tall, very nice guy, very funny. So yeah, that's, I guess he's a redhead. I'll go with that.
Okay. That is an acceptable answer, and I love the anecdote. So yeah, of course. Question number 4. What is the most Scottish thing that you know how to say? That's appropriate, of course, to say.
My favorite one, instead of saying, basically anytime you're like, instead of saying thank you or like bye or like I'll see you later, it's just cheers. You just say cheers for like everything. Like it's like you just say cheers for anything at all. Like if you don't know what to say, you just say cheers. So that's, as I might bring that back to the US when I come back. So
I imagine you're going to pick up some things that you'll do unconsciously when you get back as well.
definitely.
Question 5. What is the most awe-inspiring thing you've seen in Scotland?
Good question. Let's think. I think I went on a run out to the Pentlands a couple weeks ago, and it is just like jaw dropping, like beautiful. Like you're out, you can see the city like miles away, and then you just like turn like 180, and it's like just all mountains and country, like to the other side, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's all green fields, and you can see like the sheep walking around and everything. So yeah, that's incredible.
You chronicled that really well when you ran the Instagram account for us too.
Yes, I tried to.
Yeah, and we save that all, in the Instagram story highlight thing, but there is something about actually being there and not being able to. You have a beautiful moment. Hey, there's a beautiful mountain, great foliage, and you take a photo, and yeah, okay, sure, that's sort of what it was like. But there's nothing like being there, is there?
No, it's kind of one of those things where you like really just see it and you like say out loud to yourself like, wow, like this, like you just take it all in, and all you can say is like, wow, like just this is incredible.
Let's see. Question number 6. What do you miss the most about not being at St. Mike's?
Good question. I think just my friends, my team. Yeah, I've stayed in touch with everyone at St. Mike's, and texting and calling and FaceTiming and Snapchatting them, but kind of like seeing somewhere in person. It's not the same. I miss that camaraderie, that atmosphere, and people I really care about. Training with my team and stuff. So that's tough, but I'll be back soon. So
So question 7 is what is something that you will miss most about Scotland once you're home?
the the running here is just like amazing. Like there's so many, like for being in a city, like there's so many routes that you can take, that like you can run in the city, you can run like hills, like you can run completely flat like along the water, like you can get to the beach, you can go to the mountains, like in like one run. Like you could do it, like it's amazing what you can get to and run along and see. um it's really just crazy like how like diverse the atmosphere, the you know running areas are here.
So I did some research about Concord because I really didn't know much about Concord, and I, there is so much history that has happened in Concord, Massachusetts. So I'm wondering, as somebody who lives in Concord, Massachusetts, what is your favorite fact about your hometown?
um so basically, during the Revolutionary War, Battle of Lexington and Concord, um the North Bridge is just a couple miles from my house, and that's where the first shot heard around the world happened, right on the North Bridge. It's a beautiful place to run there. So that's my claim to fame for my town, I guess. It's a lot of history in that town.
Yeah, just because I want to rattle off some of this stuff. Louisa May Alcott wrote Little Women there. Emerson and Thoreau lived there. Walden Pond is in. I didn't know the Walden Pond is in Concord, and
Hmm.
the Concord grape was developed in Concord. So,
Yeah,
geez, yeah.
a lot of fun things. Yeah.
Um, Question number 9: Who is your personal hero?
I think I would have to go with my coach Penny, just because of how she lives her life, her day to day life. She lives so positively. Um, she knows, I swear she knows like everyone in Vermont, maybe like New England. Like she'll talk to anyone about anything for so long. She's so friendly. She's always happy. She's got a smile on her face. She's happy to do anything. She makes the best out of any situation. Um, and she's just an incredible coach and person, and just, puts a smile on everyone's face who she's with.
Then question number 10. Has your hair ever been this long?
That's probably the longest that's got. I kind of just grow it out in the winter because I don't really care. Get some skiing flow going. I didn't really cut. I usually cut it a lot more in the summer, but with COVID and everything, I didn't really cut it that much. So it's definitely I think it's definitely the longest been at this time. I don't think record for how long it's ever been, but by the time we hit January and February, if I think I'm going to keep it going. So that'll definitely be long at that point.
I'm thinking now, of course, of our Alpine head coach, Gus McLeod. Always grows out the beard, also a redhead. I feel like you guys, I don't know. I'm interested to see what you would look like. You have the long hair here, long beard there. Can you grow a beard?
No, not really.
Okay, well, never mind then. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time, Will.
Yeah, it was great, Josh. Loved it.